Hey, all you cool cats and kittens! Welcome to this week's episode of Hot Muggle Plans.
Somebody
This
had to
is
do it.
I don't know if that how it works anymore. I think I hate it.
Well, we're here now.
Oh my gosh.
Anyways, yeah. So this is the crossover of the century, or
It really is.
yeah.
Woo!
So yeah, this is an episode of Hot for Justice, Muggle Problems, and Weekend Plans all at the same time.
All
All
together.
at the same time.
Collab.
Yes.
It's a real Voltron situation.
Yeah, via social distancing and Zoom. Not sponsored.
Indeed.
Yeah.
We're not in the same room. We're all being responsible.
Tell everyone
right.
the Zoom hack you learned, Jamie.
Oh yeah, so apparently on Zoom, because you can like chat, you can either chat to everybody at one time, or you can like have like side chats. So apparently after the Zoom meeting is over, all of the chats get saved in a transcript and it goes to the host in like an email.
Ooh, we should test that out.
I saw a
I'm
post
gonna-
about this.
I'm gonna chat Zach right now and talk some shit.
Great.
Do it.
Not
Do
really
it.
though. I'm gonna text Jamie and talk some shit on Zach.
Yeah.
I'm here
I
for that.
thought we were about to like form a special bond, and nope, you spit right in my face. It's fine.
Right in your goddamn face.
Right in my goddamn face.
And that's a bigger insult these days than ever, because she's
That's
straight up
right.
infecting you.
Yeah, she's straight up just like shooting the corona projectile right into my eyeballs, and it's fine. It's great.
Giving you those corona
Wow.
Yeah, wow, this has already gone to shit. Anyways, so this week,
No, this
talk
is
about-
the Weekend Plans is taking over right now.
cooties.
all right. So we're talking about the first half of Tiger King on Netflix, right? We're the first 3 episodes. Is that what we decided on?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yes.
Well, there's a lot in this. There's a lot.
So, there's a lot to unpack. Yeah.
To say the
Really?
least.
I
So
mean,
listen up, motherfuckers.
Yeah, so I guess who wants to start off with episode 1? We're introduced to all of our new favorite people.
Okay, you guys,
Are
I
they
wrote
favorite
out like
people?
a summary of. I started to do this, but then it was literally so much. I was like, I'm not doing this anymore. But I did do a recap of episode 1.
Oh,
Let's hear
good.
it.
So you're prepared.
I did.
Just brought notes. Good.
Good.
Oh, can you guys still hear me? My computer's
No, you're good.
weird. Okay.
Here we can hear.
Okay, so episode 1. If you guys have not watched this, or you think that you're too good to watch this because you've seen it all over Facebook and you're like, not gonna watch it, just join the rest of us in the gutter and watch this show because
That's
it's
right.
Yeah.
Given it. Well, it's
Don't fool yourself.
yeah.
Nobody's
You
too
honestly, you feel better about your life choices afterwards, though.
And what else do you have
1000%.
to do? You're supposed to be staying at home. Like, come on.
True.
Yeah.
Netflix gave us this gift for a reason.
That's
You're
A
probably
1000%.
thinking about maybe buying a tiger.
I mean, they're very cheap. If you
With
combine
that-
2
Grand?
stimulus checks together, Tiger,
You can get
done.
a tiger.
Done.
Baby tiger.
And
If we
until you
didn't
have
have
to
a
come up
tiger.
with that 10 grand a month to feed it.
You just
Whatever.
make a deal with Walmart to get the expired food.
Get their
Right.
bad meats.
Or
And anything
another
the Tiger-
unnamed major retailer.
Anything the tiger doesn't eat, you put on a pizza and serve to the public.
It's fine. It's
Okay.
fine.
Nasty. Okay, so episode 1, we are introduced to Joe Schreibvogel, aka Joe Exotic,
Yes.
who
We are.
owns this zoo with exotic tigers up to like 100. He says he had like 220 tigers at one point.
I'm not sure if I'm buying that.
I think he embellished a little bit. But this zoo is in Wynnewood, Oklahoma. And he is a self-proclaimed gay, gun-carrying redneck with a mullet.
Yes, he is.
It's true.
What a
And
title.
honestly, he's fantastic. Like, I can't help but like him.
Yeah.
What?
Truly.
It's true.
Really?
He's the most
Yeah.
likable
Oh
asshole.
my god.
He is. Like,
You
I
guys
mean,
would all end up marrying him for
Listen.
drugs.
well, I
mean-
don't do drugs, but I mean,
Well, not yet. Not till you meet Joe Exotic.
Not telling me Joe Exotic.
Changes everything.
Would you like to try some methamphetamine?
Those, you know what, Jess? Those
That
boys
meth
didn't like the
mouth.
dick until they met Joe Exotic.
oh my gosh.
So.
So true.
By the way, this is all
But-
full spoilers.
It is. It's, yeah. You know, okay, I don't like what he does to the animals. Obviously, I'm very opposed to that.
Yes.
Yeah.
Nobody should own a tiger or any sort of exotic animal like that, but he is just so likable.
He's got a lot of charisma. You do have to give him that.
And
Good.
Like when he
100%.
puts on the EMS jacket when his fucking employee gets his hand bitten off.
Okay, so you have to backstory that.
Yeah,
One
don't
of-
just jump in.
One of his employees named Saf was, I don't know, stuck his hand in the cage and got it bitten off. So they actually have footage of it, right? Because Joe like records literally everything.
Yep.
Yeah.
And the camera is like barely blurred out his arm,
Oh
and
my gosh.
you can just see the shock that he's in. And
When
they're
you
like,
see,
his arm is gone.
when they show you that footage and it's blurred out, but you can see how like the arm is still attached, but it's like it's made of rubber. Like it's
Yeah.
completely, like there's no form to it. It's the most horrific thing I've ever seen in my
It's-
life.
Honestly,
hard.
like when Harry, when he breaks his arm and whatever. Or,
No, the bones get removed.
yeah.
It's exactly like that. It
Yeah,
is
And
it's
his
exactly
arm's
like-
just like, that's what that looks like. And he comes into Joe comes into the gift shop and tells everybody
So casually.
He's wearing an EMS jacket.
With white jeans.
With white
a tiger just bit off an employee's hand. So can you guys just come back? I'll give you a rain check.
Rain
If
you
check for
really
want a
refunds,
refund,
I
we'll give it to you.
guess.
I'll never recover from this financially, he says.
I'll never
Yes.
recover from
So, which is just ridiculous.
I think the best part is that the employee came back 5 days later,
5
It was-
days.
was just like, you know what? I didn't want to be in the hospital that long and have all that reconstructive surgery, so I just said, fuck it, cut it off.
take my arm.
Cut
Yeah.
it off.
Cut my arm off.
And he had no hard feelings. I was like,
No.
No,
Yeah.
like so casual about the entire thing. And
But-
also, fuck Netflix. They misgendered them for the entire
Yeah.
time.
they
That's
did.
true.
They
yeah.
did. So I didn't realize that. So
Me either.
Same.
calls him Kelsey. That's his real name, or I guess legal name is Kelsey, but he goes by Saf, and they did refer to him as a she the whole time. And then
Yeah.
after, I saw an article about how he prefers, he pronouns or
Yeah.
male pronouns, and but wasn't going to make a big deal about it 'cause I guess
Whatever.
he's the most
kinda-
easygoing person on the planet.
I mean, apparently.
So yeah, doesn't sue Joe or anything, just like literally goes right back to work,
Goes back to work.
5 days later,
missing an arm.
Ugh.
right back to it. And like,
That's not the definition of an essential employee. I don't know what is.
I just appreciate that they were like, he said that as he was like driving with the nub. Because yeah,
Oh,
he went
I
back to
know.
work like 5 days
That
later.
was wild.
And I was like, dude, this like he's just like whatever. Yep, this is my life now. I got this cool nub, and
Honestly, I can't imagine, like, even after 5 days, how much pain. I don't even know if that's like feasible to return back to work within 5 days.
I have no
down in
idea.
Oklahoma it is.
I don't like. My aunt had her leg amputated because she was in a motorcycle accident, and
Huh.
like when they do that, they have to have basically a wound vac. And it has to suck out all of the excess fluids and stuff.
Oh God.
So I don't really know. I feel like it would take you much longer than 5 days to be able to go back to work.
I mean,
That
it's
is-
supposed to,
Yeah,
but
That's so crazy.
but Joe.
yeah.
You know, how are you gonna
Yeah.
leave Joe hanging?
How you gonna leave Joe Exotic hanging like that? He's such a nice guy, right?
Right. So, yeah, well, beyond that, what Joe, he's also a country music artist, we learn.
He has
Yes.
great music
Episode.
videos.
And an entrepreneur who
Mhm.
sells underwear.
He's definitely that.
Oh my god. And then I like how he's showing in the gift shop the underwear line he did, and they're like, well, which one's your favorite? And he's like, oh, I don't wear underwear.
Free ball it.
Like,
Oh, Joe,
oh god.
fucking rock star.
That's right. Just in those
But
tight
in the
denim
first-
jeans, all that chafing.
Oh, his style is.
In his padlock.
His
Ew.
padlocks.
Save that for the late. That's for the second recap.
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Spoilers.
You're on
Spoiler
timeout.
for the locks.
Yeah, cheating. No. So we like meet several different exotic animal zoo owner people, I guess, in the first.
Yes. So
Maybe 3 total, right? In the
Yeah,
first
I
one?
think
yeah.
right
Their
after Joe,
relationships
we're
with one
introduced to
another.
Doc.
Good.
Oh, fucking Doc.
Doc Antle.
Antle.
Doc is a
Doc.
scumbag.
Yeah.
Yeah,
They
Doc's a
all
piece
are.
of shit. Well, they all are piece of shits.
Yeah.
You're rooting for the Tigers,
Yeah.
Yeah.
Really.
So
Let's set that as a baseline.
or that one employee who are they're like, how many wives does Doc have? He goes, I don't give a fuck. I'm kind of rooting for him too.
Doc.
I also like the guy with the prosthetic legs, just because
Yes. The
at a certain
manager.
point, like you see him, and then you're like, oh, there's a story here, and they're like, oh, this has nothing to do with the Tigers, and you're like, fucking what?
He's the guy that also had customized bullets for him and Joe in case they didn't kill themselves, right?
Oh my
Oh my
god.
Yes.
I forgot about that.
They were custom bullets.
They were
They had their names
besties.
on them in case
This is-
they.
The craziest fucking thing.
In case all the animals got out and they were ruined.
Oh, I hope that's the last episode.
Just plot twist: the Tigers are roaming down some town in Oklahoma right now.
Oh
The
my
secret new episode.
God. I wonder if
Secretly,
that's
there's
true or not. If
Tiger
they
a
were
revolt.
tiger community. Tigers are slowly migrating their way into some Oklahoma town, taking over. All the people living there had to evacuate and leave.
Yeah, that was crazy. Well,
Well, it didn't happen.
so we meet Doc, who he has several wives.
At
and
least 8.
I don't even remember, and he was. I don't even know how to describe him
He's running a
Original?
tiger-themed cult. Yeah.
exactly.
Yes. That's the
Yes.
best way to word it.
So we meet him, and then we meet Carol.
Carol fucking Basket.
Carol fucking Basket.
Everyone's favorite villain.
Oh yeah. Carol is a quote. I'm going to say this in quotations. An animal rights activist
Ooh.
who operates a sanctuary, again in quotes, with tigers.
Well, it's a sanctuary because she doesn't have to pay her employees. They're all volunteers.
Right.
And
That shit
so
is so
she-
crazy.
She rakes in those mills, the millions of dollars,
Mhm.
and she doesn't pay her employees at all.
No, they're
And-
volunteers.
And some of them have been there for like years and years and years, and they have like a color-coded tiered
Yes.
structure.
T-shirt system.
Yeah, if you
Oh
got
my
that
God,
royal
like-
blue, you've been there at least 5 years. And like
That's
you're
insane.
an
Oh my God.
HBIC, honestly.
And you're there on Christmas and like Thanksgiving too. She's like, yeah, we don't do
Right.
Christmas.
And she's so
Like,
proud
what?
of it. I'm like, bitch, if I'm not getting paid, my ass ain't there.
Right?
No. Just in general, like regardless of Christmas.
I mean, like, maybe volunteering, it would be cool, but to like an extent, like, but not.
Once every
Not-
few months when you gain the courage.
Yeah.
Yeah.
No. So she is against Joe and how he handles his animals, which includes like doing road shows,
hmm
cub
Taking them
petting,
to malls. Yeah.
right? Breeding breeding to sell cubs, which is illegal, I
Yep.
guess. So she like legitimately makes on her website makes a page against Joe, or like makes a website basically calling Joe out, and then hires somebody to track him and where he's going, so she can try to like get his shows canceled, which she succeeds to some point, and Joe's pissed.
He's big mad. Also, I'd like to thoroughly apologize if you can hear one of mine and Zach's cats purring aggressively into the microphone.
I totally can.
Yeah,
Is that
he's
what
in,
that is?
yes, he's in Zach's lap right now, and he's thriving, but he won't leave Zach's lap. So
You guys are talking about kitty cats. I'm here.
yeah, he's like purr purr motherfucker. But yeah, so that happens, and then Joe is like, let's take this a step further. I'm gonna change all of my shit on my website and all of my marketing to look just like Big Cat Rescue, because fuck you, Carol.
Well, let's talk
And-
about his like YouTube videos.
Oh, you mean Joe
His
Exotic
music
TV?
videos?
Oh, jeez. When he like shoots the fake Carol Baskin.
Yeah, when he like
It's
the
a sex
sex doll
doll
with her face on it.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's all bad.
Can you imagine
Um,
you're browsing the website and you're like, oh, here's a guy who like owns a tiger sanctuary and he makes these videos, and it's all about him talking about how much he hates this woman.
It is truly something.
I mean, no, I couldn't imagine. You're right.
Oh god, it's amazing. Fucking Oklahoma, you know? Only in Oklahoma.
Yeah, well, I think the like best part about it is that the music video. I forget what the song was called, but the song
It's
that
called
basically.
Here Kitty Kitty.
Thank you. I knew somebody had it for me.
Jackson's listened to it 6 times already.
It's on his on repeat playlist on Spotify. But like the music video, like she's feeding meat to a tiger and dies. So, or sorry, a Carol lookalike. Let me not get twisted.
She's feeding her husband to the tiger.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Which
You're
is
right.
a plot point later.
Yes, I don't want to spoil it too much, but at the end of episode 2, it ends with Jo saying, "Oh yeah, and her husband that disappeared," and everyone's like, "I'm sorry, what?"
Wait,
What?
yeah,
What'd
no,
you
the
say?
producers literally were like, "Wait, what?"
You said what now?
It's
I'm
such
sorry.
a beautiful example of what this entire show is. Like,
Yep.
you start watching the first episode, and you're like, "This is the craziest thing I've ever seen." All
Right.
these people are maniacs, and then every episode escalates in a way that seems impossible.
Oh no,
Like
it's not even every episode. It's every 5 fucking minutes. You're like, wow, this could not get crazier. And then you're like, I was wrong.
Wow. Yeah.
It literally, it seems like it's made up.
It does.
But it's all real.
Wild.
I do like how you get some of the producers' excitement too, because they're just like, "I'm sorry, you said what?"
I
And like this project they had just keeps getting better and better as they're filming it. They're like,
oh yeah.
It's a real
What
gold
you say?
mine. They got so
Because-
lucky.
He
They
said that he
did.
spent like 5 years doing this
Yeah.
Jesus Christ.
documentary,
it's
Worth
like-
which is insane. So yeah, it's just
Speaking of like when that like what we're originally talking about, that one main guy, he's like, "Oh yeah, all that stuff burnt up." Dropped down and cried.
The guy in the cowboy hat.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, his producer.
Yeah,
Imagine
he's
just
a big
being-
scumbag in real life too.
Oh yeah, they all are.
Also, that man was a hero because not only was he chain smoking cigarettes the entire time, when he ran out of cigarettes to smoke, he had a jewel just like sitting on the table, like ready to go for like round 2.
Ready? Yeah. Well, when you have to like recreate, like you have to go back and visit the time you lived with this fucking maniac for like 2.5 years, and then have nothing to show for it, I'd need to smoke too.
yeah. Well,
At the
what's
least.
Right.
crazy too. Well, I don't actually know. No, never mind. Because I don't think that did that happen. Did the studio burn down in the first 3 episodes?
It
No,
might have
that's
been episode
later.
4.
That's much later.
Much later.
Yeah,
It's much
okay, I was
later.
gonna
I couldn't
say-
help it. I couldn't help but think about it. We'll talk about it later then.
Yeah, we'll talk about it later.
We'll come back.
Oh, there's just so much.
I know.
I know.
It's easy to fall apart.
So, yeah, they. When I watched the first 2 episodes, I was like, well, because it kind of sets it up, right? That Carol is running the sanctuary, and you're like, oh, she's doing good things, and her speaking
Yeah.
about how Jo is not, basically. But then, like, as you get more into it, you're like, but really, ultimately, what's the difference in what she's doing and what he's doing?
Nothing.
Zero
Right.
difference. Yeah.
Other than, like, she's not breeding them, she's just as bad.
But I
Yeah.
think it came out in episode 3, might have been 4, so excuse me if it did, that she bought tigers from Jo.
Yes.
Oh,
Yeah.
did it?
Yes.
Oh, when she was younger?
Yeah, so like in the early 90s, she bought tigers from Jo. Like her first tigers were ones that he bred.
Yeah. So, because I do, and it was in the 3rd episode, actually, because it talks about, like,
You're right.
her, when she first got married to her second husband,
Yes.
because he was rich as fuck, and they bought, tigers or whatever, and yeah, she was involved in it too, so it's like,
Mhm.
why are you can't be on your high horse about it unless you acknowledge that you used to.
Yeah.
I mean, it's just so hypocritical.
I'd also
Well,
like to
there are-
correct myself. She didn't buy tigers from Jo. She bought them from the same guy that Jo bought tigers from.
Okay, but I mean, either way, she was
Doesn't matter.
buying tiger cubs.
Yeah.
She was not rescuing them.
If you own tigers, you're not a good functional person. We can.
Yes.
Right. So, I mean, like, I do see the value in what she's doing. Like, if they're taking, tigers that nobody wants, or I just
From
personally
like
don't.
circuses and
Yeah, like, and giving them a place, like she says, to live until they die. But what
Mhm.
she's doing is she's making so much money off of them, when really, if she was doing this to be as selfless as she's trying to make herself seem, she would reinvest that money to making their lives better, or like giving them bigger enclosures or whatever, instead
Mhm.
of fucking pocketing all that money.
Yeah.
Because she's about that coin.
They said she's making millions.
I believe it.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
She's
She's a-
and like she's talking about how she gets donations from Facebook that are like tens of thousands of dollars.
Like
And-
weekly.
Yeah, and like she doesn't have to pay employees. Sure, she has the overhead of like feeding the animals, but with what she's making off of them,
Yeah.
like, come
It's
on.
good use to her.
Yeah, so I just don't like her. And her,
She's
all
a
of her
monster.
cat clothes.
Oh, yeah.
And her
We
claws.
should
Oh,
hire
God.
somebody to kill her for sure.
We wouldn't be the first.
Jamie, you have to bleep that out, or we're gonna all go to jail.
Eh,
Just
I mean, editing Jamie will try to remember.
kidding. Okay,
editing Jamie will fail.
yeah, probs.
Yikes.
But yeah, so let's talk about Carol and her husband.
Yes, because that's all what episode 3 is about. It talks about her basically entire life story and all of her sexploits, I'll call them.
he like picks her
calling
up
it
on
that?
the side of the road.
Yes.
Which is so it's so cringy. She's like, if somebody was following me like that when I'm walking on the side of the road, I would be like
What are you doing?
concerned
married.
that I'm about to get murdered.
Right, and
Not
especially
go
like
to
when he
a
whips out a
hotel with
gun.
them. Right, and he's like leaves it on his seat of his car. No, ew.
You can hold the gun on me if it makes you feel safe. It does
I mean,
not.
yeah, it does now. Totally, I'll get in this car and hang out with you indefinitely.
Only in Oklahoma, you know.
But can we just take 5 seconds and talk about his salty ass ex-wife and family?
Oh, salty.
I mean, they kind of have a reason to be.
No, you're not wrong. But like, I like how they spend so much time just like, yeah, you know, she's a fucking bitch. Like, she stole a dog from
yeah.
us, and da 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 da. As if he wasn't a piece of shit. Also, like, he cheated on his wife and like found a new bitch on the side of the road.
Yeah.
No, for sure. I mean, but he was doing that. I mean, I'm not excusing what he was doing because obviously that's pretty.
No, right.
I mean, she wasn't the only one. It sounded like that he was
No, not at all.
Definitely
out
not.
on the side.
So yeah, episode 2 ends with the realization that her husband disappeared in the 90s or late 80s.
No, 90s. It was 90s.
Oh yeah, early 90s. And everyone's like, "Oh my god, what?" And then they talk to everybody about it. And even I forget his name. Were you able to pull up his name, Jess? The Hispanic man.
No, hold on.
They,
The
so
former
there-
drug dealer.
yeah, so this guy, he was like, "I dealt drugs to keep up with my big cat hobby, so I can
With his
afford the
dad
cats."
too. It was like a family
Yes!
business. He did it with
Yeah.
his dad, which I think is awesome.
His dad
Yeah.
was getting arrested with him.
Yeah, they went to prison for a while, and like now he's just like, "Yeah, I'm just living on my fucking giant ranch in Florida, living my best life now." And
Mario Tabrau.
Cabrone? Yeah.
I don't know how to say his last name, but yeah.
that man,
I love that guy. That guy's cool.
yeah, he's honestly the most normal person in this whole thing.
But he also tells like the chillest story of 100% killing like a federal agent, where he's just like,
Oh no, he
you
didn't.
know,
He didn't kill him.
He watched it
happened.
happen.
His
It
friends
happened on my
killed him,
land.
and then
I didn't
they
even
burned
really
him.
do it. It wasn't even that big a deal, you know, whatever.
Yeah,
Yeah, like
casual.
my friends just decided to, throw his body onto my land. It's fine.
He's such a fucking like, oh my god, dude.
Like, he's a fucking G, okay? Like, I'll say it.
Yeah, he's
Like-
dope.
So yeah, that happens. Again, he tells the story, and he's like, "Oh yeah, Carol totally killed that motherfucker. Like, it's fine."
It's
Can
fine.
I ask a group question? Is there anybody here who doubts that Carol killed her husband?
Oh no, she murdered him.
Absolutely the fuck not. Jess is shaking her head no.
Absolutely not.
I'm glad we're all on the same page.
She was like, "Oh yeah, you have to coat the body in sardine oil or something that tigers like."
No.
Okay.
Later.
That happened in episode 7. She talked about how that's how, if you wanted someone to be eaten, that's how you would do it.
That's what you would do.
Just
Not
throwing it
that
out
she
there.
would know.
Never.
I read an article.
Jesus.
But they go into some conspiracy theories about what might have happened to Don Baskin, which I think
Yes.
is probably the most fun part about the whole mystery. So they talk about how he tells Carol, like, the day before he disappeared, that he was going to take a flight somewhere, right? He like load up the trucks. He has to go somewhere and do a business deal. And it was like really like casual, but like also very like vague. And she was just like, yeah, like whatever. And then allegedly she doesn't see him ever again. And his car turns up at a like small little airport. And I guess he's had a pilot's license in the past, but it wasn't current or something at the time that this happened.
It's been revoked because he keeps like crashing and stuff.
Yes, because he's not a good pilot.
He's a bad pilot.
Revoked 'cause he keeps
But he flies
hitting the
anyway.
ground.
Yes. So that happens, and then they're just like, yeah, like he totally just might have flown to like Costa Rica or something. We don't know. And they're like, how do you know he went to Costa Rica? Like, what the fuck? Like,
He went to Costa Rica all the time.
All the time.
yeah, casually for nothing
When
sketchy.
you're
I'm
a terrible pilot, you prefer to fly over the ocean, obviously.
Yeah, no one's seen that plane again, or actually there was no plane even like registered to him that he could have taken. They never found anything. There was no wreckage. They've never seen him again.
No, I think he had his own plane. It was just that there was no flight plan.
Yes.
That's what it was. Thank you.
And I don't think the plane was gone. Was it gone? I don't think the plane was gone.
His plane
but
wasn't, but
his car was at the airport.
yeah.
So.
Which is easier to move the car than the plane, you know, if you're going to hide somebody's vehicle.
That's true.
Yeah.
So, makes sense just to take the car and leave it at the airport.
I mean, you just like logically, he had a ton of money. Who had
did.
the most to gain from him croaking? Obviously, Carol.
Mhm.
Yeah. Oh, and then Dawn's like executive assistant's like, yeah, you know, like I had a lockbox that had his will in it, and like it was definitely a different will than the one that used to be in there. So she definitely went in there and like switched it and like all this stuff.
Wouldn't they have records of that though? Like if it's a lockbox through.
No, because it was just in there his office.
Oh.
Like she knew where it was. It was like underneath her desk, and like the paperwork that was in there was different than the one that like she saw him put in there. And he also like wrote his assistant a letter and was like, if I ever turn up missing, it was fucking Carol. Like
Mhm.
Yep.
insane.
Fucked up.
It
Fucked
truly
up.
is insane.
Also, sidebar, I am convinced that Dawn Baskin and his assistant were definitely fucking.
Probs.
Thank you.
She is so troubled by it more than anybody
Yes!
else.
She's
Yeah.
Especially Carol.
visibly upset.
It's weird.
Well, yeah.
Well, Carol, you know, that was just a pure victory for Carol.
Yeah,
A
and
big
like
W.
every
It's
time they
just,
ask her about it, she acts so cavalier, and she's just like, "That's so silly that they think I would kill him." Like, oh
I
my god,
know.
it's so
So silly.
funny.
It's cringy how she acts when they ask her. Like,
I just
Yeah.
like how they kept cutting back to her, like riding that stupid fucking leopard-colored bike.
oh,
The
I
golf
know.
cart,
Oh
the hot pink leopard golf cart.
No. The beach cruiser bike
You're right.
that she putts around on. Like during all of this, it would just cut back to her, and I'm like, she's a fucking bad man.
Yeah,
Yeah. 100%.
true monster.
Yeah.
Like, oh Jesus.
Okay, so I want to talk about. So there's a couple of big theories about where Dawn's body is.
It's
Do you
think
funny.
he
was-
It's gone. It's
It's in a
part of the
tiger.
earth now.
Well, no, the
Yeah.
other theory is the sewer theory.
Little bit of
Why
A,
would
a
you
little
do
bit of B.
that why would you do that when you literally have tigers that will eat anything?
I
They're
don't know.
not gonna
I
eat
just
the
throwing
bones,
it out.
though.
Yeah,
Yeah.
wasn't that
Yeah.
somebody's theory?
Well, I don't think a tiger would eat a full skull. I think it would just eat the meat around the skull, and you got to do something with the rest of the
Well, I
skeleton.
know animals do chew bones because like marrow and stuff like that is in there.
Mhm.
So I don't know. They don't eat them whole, but
No. So I mean, like, I think that part of him could be in the sewer or septic system or whatever. Joe's his hypothesis, but I
isn't
definitely
there-
think it was mostly eaten.
like buried under a like a septic tank that they refused to move or to allow to be dug around.
Yes, and
Yes.
the authorities
Yeah.
were like, "We have no reason to excavate. Why would you even?"
Yeah,
That-
yeah,
Yeah. It's weird.
pretty good.
Dumb.
It's great. The best thing to come out of quarantine season.
Definitely.
It really was. I was not expecting to get so involved in it.
Oh, me either. No.
It was, and
1000%.
then and it was a deep dive, and now all of the memes, they're just really providing me some quality quarantine entertainment.
Quarantine
What?
entertainment.
Quarantine.
100%.
Yeah. So it's, honestly, Dawn going missing was probably though like the most interesting part of it because it's still a mystery.
It's a
It's
cold
true.
case.
Joe Exotic turning straight men gay wasn't interesting to you?
Man,
oh,
okay.
that was okay. Do we talk about that in the first couple episodes?
Yes, they do.
So, in the first episode, they're introducing you to Joe Exotic, and I'm watching it. I'm like, okay, this guy's a maniac, and he seems like not great things are happening with him. And then they're like, and his husband. I'm like, oh, that's kind of sweet. Maybe him getting turned around. And then they're
Right.
like, his other husband, and I was like, oh, okay.
Yep. But what's oh god, it's just that that's fine, but you can tell Travis is not like
Into it at all.
Gay at all?
no, he is not. He's not invested, and he's like at their wedding. He's just kind of like,
I'm
I don't
here.
know. He likes big dicks in porn though, which I guess it makes you gay.
I mean, Jess, do you like watching the guy with the little thing do it, or do you like watching the guy with the big thing do it?
oh my gosh, I don't know, Zach. What
Sounds-
about you?
Well, yeah, I'm obviously gonna watch the guy with the big thing do it.
Yeah. Well then,
You're not that
Pretty
straight,
good.
are you?
yeah.
We will not get into this. This is a weekend plans conversation. Thank you very much.
Whoa.
Wow.
Okay, Jackson, do you have anything to relay on that as far as that's concerned then? Weekend plans
Literally-
conversations?
Literally everybody likes big dicks in porn, so it has nothing to do. Nothing to do with anything.
It's all just, objective at this point.
Exactly.
It's just very interesting, that whole
Also,
dynamic.
I
don't
saw
get-
a
Go ahead.
group Halloween costume idea on Facebook that was the three of them dressed up in that communal wedding of the three of them, and then
Oh, man.
one a butch lesbian as the priest. And honestly, if the four of us should do that for Halloween.
I'm sorry, but me, Wes, and Emerson are already going. I'm going to be Carol. Emerson's going to be a tiger, and Wes is going to be Joe.
I thought Wes was gonna be the body of her husband.
That would be pretty funny.
That would
Actually,
be
no,
that's
you
what
should dress up as
do.
Carol and her current husband and do the thing with
The
the
leash. Oh,
Yes, make Wes wear a leash.
that's also very possible.
It should be a thing. He needs,
Emerson's going to
that'd
be a
amazing.
tiger.
Of course.
It's going to be great.
Okay,
I'm excited
also,
for it.
sidebar. Can we talk about John and him being shirtless always?
The
Okay,
entire
I
time.
read an article about this. The producers strongly urged him to be shirtless for his interviews.
Oh no.
To show off his tattoos.
Yes, including the Joe's property one.
Well, like the one that
The
he
one
didn't get fixed, which
tattoos
is super
over.
funny, was the one like on his shoulder that said "For my husband," and that one stayed on. Like,
Yep.
Did you
like-
notice? Never mind, that was at the end. We can talk about it later.
oh yes, it's just so easy to like segue into the ending.
I know we won't anyway, but we won't. What was I gonna say? Was it in the first three where they talk about how Joe had a first husband that they got rid of, or that he like divorced or
I think they
divorced
do
him?
mention that.
Anyway, so that happened
I know
also.
Carol did. Carol had
Right.
a first husband on.
No, but Joe did too. So Joe has now
Yeah.
had 4 husbands.
Yeah, he's on number 4 right now.
Yeah, and that guy is still devoted.
he is.
Oh yeah,
devoted.
it's fuck.
He's definitely doing other dudes while,
No, I think he's doing other women. Like, let's be honest.
Yeah, Joe
no,
only
I
marries
don't
straight
think
guys.
Do you think
So-
this one's actually gay?
Yes, I do.
I mean,
I'm not
alright.
saying I have like impeccable gaydar or anything, but I'm pretty sure.
Impeccable gaydar.
I mean, if not, he's bi. Which, I mean, either way, he seems really into Joe. Okay,
Mhm.
and like, why would he stay with him now when there's really no like inherent benefits for him? Joe
But
is.
Oh,
He's
the new-
famous. Joe's famous.
The new guy.
Yeah,
Yeah.
he's famous now, but how would he know that this documentary would have taken off in the way it did?
It's
I mean, Cardi B set up a
uh-huh.
GoFundMe
Go on.
to free Joe. Cardi is my
She
girl.
did not.
Okay, she did.
That's amazing.
Cardi B would.
That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, I love Cardi.
I mean,
Just
honestly,
saying.
who doesn't?
Well, it sounded like Jackson doesn't a little bit.
I was curious what you were gonna say about her. Just like, because before like bringing her into it, I was like, uh-oh, what's happening?
I love Cardi. But yeah, she set up a GoFundMe to free Joe.
Wow.
And
Wow.
I
I'm scared to
kinda
ask what
support
it's
it.
at.
I don't know. Should we Google? Make sure it's actually a thing. I saw it,
Look
but
it
you know,
up.
sometimes the internet lies to you.
It
It's
does.
true. It does do that, bastard.
She was really good in Hustlers.
That
I
movie
haven't
was
seen it yet.
trash. Sorry. Oh, it says Cardi B is not allowed to start a GoFundMe for Joe Exotic because it violates their rules.
Oh.
No,
why?
well, there you go.
But she
They can
Bill
Wanted-
was
wanted.
criminal now, dude.
She wanted to.
Oh.
Let's see why.
I mean, I didn't know GoFundMe had rules. Because I've seen some questionable GoFundMes.
Yeah, it says money cannot be raised on his platform to fund the defense of inmates convicted of violent crimes. And that's from a GoFundMe representative.
None of his crimes were violent. He was only convicted of conspiracy to commit murder.
I thought he was.
He also animal
cruelty.
abuse.
Yeah, the animal abuse.
Oh, you're right. There's like 18 counts of that or some shit.
And he probably should be in jail for that. So
Yes.
Probably.
They all should.
Yeah.
they all should. They 100% all should.
But
That's
like,
why I want the next season to be him and Carol as soulmates together.
Oh my God.
Turns to a sitcom.
they reopened her husband's case though.
I did
I
hear
saw
about that.
Well, yeah. After all this evidence comes out,
Right.
They're like, wait just a goddamn second.
we also had a full-on confession in this documentary.
Basically, she basically laid out how she did it. Basically, very casually.
Well, I also love, I guess, going back to that. So in episode 3, they talk about how basically the police didn't do dog shit about his investigation for his disappearance.
Mhm.
Like, they were just like, oh yeah, he disappeared. Like, we can't find any record of it. Weird.
It is weird for like a white man with money to disappear and for the police to not care.
Thank you.
That's true. Especially in
The
Oklahoma.
gall of them.
But yeah, no, like,
Yeah.
everyone's just so laissez-faire about the whole thing. And I'm just like, goddamn, guys. Like, a man disappeared. And, like, again, his family is, like, justifiably distraught about it. And
They are so salty though. Like
On their little couch together.
salty.
that's all they could afford because Dawn took all the money and married Carol instead.
That's right.
Mhm.
That's what they're saying. They're like, yeah, she didn't get any money in the divorce. Like, R.I.P.
Yeah, for real.
And he has no relationship with his kid. And, you know, again, Don Baskin, also a piece of shit. But no one likes to talk about
Yeah.
that, neither do they.
It's a real mosaic of pieces of shit. The whole thing.
Yeah.
Oh, Christ. So, I feel like that was a pretty good representation of the first half of Tiger King.
Yeah. Oh, wait till we get to the second half. It's better.
Shit gets so much more many.
Oh my God.
If that's even possible.
I mean, in this, us breaking it up a little bit allows you guys, for those of you who have not seen it, to go watch it.
Yes.
Mhm.
My mom actually called me the other night and was like, so is Tiger King really that good? And I was like, bitch, you haven't watched it?
Oh
And
my God.
she was like,
Jen.
no, like, and I was like, oh, no. Y'all need to watch it. Like, you, Wayne, and Diane all need to get down and watch that right now.
Family movie night. Yeah, family movie night.
Yeah,
for
I was
Tiger
like,
King.
y'all will, like, collectively appreciate that very much. And they were like, she was like, are you sure? I was like, yes.
Yes. Yes, Jen, do it.
Never been more sure of anything.
Literally. I was like, you need to watch this yesterday. Like, I'm surprised that
Honestly.
you hadn't watched it. Like,
So good.
but so yeah, next week we'll probably be back with the part deuce of this.
Yeah, and we
We
might have
cover
another-
episodes 4 through 7,
another-
and potentially 8 if that episode does actually drop, if that's a real
Yeah.
thing.
Yeah.
Yes.
I don't
That
know.
would be amazing.
And we might have another guest star with us, so it might be a five-person review.
A proper orgy.
A quin. What did we call it? A quin.
What did you
Tonson?
call it? Not we.
I called it a
You.
Thank you.
You. Wow.
A,
Fine, I'll take
a quintet.
Quintet.
Ooh.
It's like
Yeah.
That's not what Zach called it, but I like that.
a quintet. So like.
That's what
maybe
I'm
a
calling
quartet.
it.
You can go with it, I guess.
Yeah.
Quintet. Oh, that's nice. Makes it sound a little more like elegant.
It does.
Yeah. It's a very
Yeah.
classy affair. Absolutely.
Very
That's right.
bougie.
It's- instead of being like kind of just sweaty, dark, and gross, it's like, oh, this is nice.
Which, I mean, does actually describe the Tiger King pretty eloquently.
Sweaty, dark, and gross.
Yes. With basement tattoos and mullets.
Yeah.
Basement tattoos.
Actually, I feel like
good.
this is more like their tattoos done in somebody's kitchen, but that's neither here nor there.
I thought you were talking about the guy's like crotch tat.
I'm talking about all the tattoos. No tattoo in any of this is done well.
I thought you for sure were calling the guy's crotch tat a basement tattoo, which made me really
But it,
happy.
Wow.
No.
it is a basement tattoo, though.
It is a basement
That's true.
tattoo.
You heard it here first, folks. Property
It's on
of
the-
Joe Exotic.
Right in the basement.
Right
Oh my
above
God.
his basement.
So what would you prefer, that or a picture of you in a leash on your wedding day?
Honestly, I'm upset that we didn't take photos of him in a leash on our wedding day, and we should go back to the country club and take those.
It's a missed opportunity. I think you should do it.
Yeah.
I already know it's gonna be the most popular like Halloween costume, but Jess, if you don't do Carol Baskin and the husband in the fucking leash, we probably will.
Yeah, and then just dress up as a tiger. I'm into it.
See, but then, yeah, I don't
It's gonna be the
know.
most popular Halloween costume this year.
It will
I guarantee
be.
it.
It already is.
Guarantee
People are
it.
dressing up. I've seen so many people like, I'm recreating Tiger King.
Yeah.
Yeah, well, whatever. They're not. It'll come back around for Halloween.
Yeah, maybe. It might be overdone by then, though. We might have
As
something
we're all
new.
doing a.
Netflix might bless us with something even better than Tiger King.
Hopefully we get a Halloween this year.
Say
Right.
a virtual
Also
Halloween.
true.
I will cry.
Seriously, I cannot even. Wes might not be alive.
Oh, man.
No, you should have said that. Oh gosh, now everybody's gonna know it's you.
Now
I'm just
this
kidding.
is a conspiracy to commit murder.
No, I'm joking. I love him. I wouldn't.
It's okay. You don't
I'm
have to lie
joking.
anymore. It's
I
fine.
do. Okay, anyways. All right.
I think that's enough.
Is it?
We gotta go.
It's enough for now. We'll catch you next
Cut it
week for
out.
another crossover situation.
Okay, all you cool cats and kittens.
We'll catch you with another week in another week with the other half of Das Cut
Yes.
Tiger King.
Perfect.
All right.
Okay.
Good. Bye.
Bye.